So, we understand now what it takes to bring back a mammoth. Combine key mammoth traits from ancient DNA with modern-day Asian elephant DNA, and after a 22-month pregnancy, the first de-extinct woolly mammoth will be born. The next question is, what will it look like?
From a gene perspective, we want to reintroduce these animals back into the Arctic. So we are focusing on a lot of the kind of physical attributes or phenotypes that are like the fat deposits, the small ears, so there's less heat loss, small tail, the big shaggy coat of hair, which is actually about 5 different types of hair. Most people just think it's one, but it's actually 5 different types of hair to help give it that insulation, right? And then there's things that you and I we won't see, but are critical to cold tolerance. So for example, we've studied how both mammoths and other species like polar bear and caribou and others, how do they produce hemoglobin at sub-freezing temperatures? Like if we're at -40, a lot of our breath will crystallize and will suffocate. In some of these extreme cold tolerant species, like mammoths, they have certain genes that made it where the ends of their nerves won't get essentially fried by the cold, right? And so these are the types of things that we have to work on that are just as important as those iconic features that you and I think about when we want to see it.
Aside from bringing back ancient beasts of the past, there's a second, more pressing mission behind Colossal's work: conservation.
We are facing an extinction crisis, a biodiversity crisis, an ecological crisis across the planet, where we know that habitats are changing at a rate that outpaces evolution's ability to keep up. Ideally, we could all take a step back and give all of the species and ecosystems the time and the space that they need to catch up, but we can't. It's too late. The human footprint is too big. But these technologies could offer us hope. To me, the most exciting thing is that I'm not just extracting ancient DNA and trying to figure out population genetics and learning about the growth and decline of species through time, but actually now in a position where we can use the information from the past to help species and ecosystems today. These technologies have application to species that aren't extinct, that we can start to focus our attention on applying these technologies to saving species from becoming extinct. And Colossal have been engaged with a lot of different conservation programs, as well as these de-extinction programs. And that is one of the things that I find most compelling about Colossal, and one of the reasons that I finally decided to join.
One of the things that I would say that we're ahead of schedule on, which I'm very excited about, is the application of some of our technologies to conservation. We set a goal that all of the technologies that we develop have an application to conservation we'll give to the world for free. We've been chosen as the genetic rescue partner for the northern white rhino. So how can we engineer in lost genes and genetic diversity that's been lost so that when they make these additional northern white rhinos, they have multiple founder lines so that they can interbreed and be a healthier population.
So, the big question: when can we expect to see the first de-extinct woolly mammoth and other species lost in the past?
The only date that we've set out there is 2028 for our first mammoth calves. We feel very good about it. What I will tell you is with 22 months of gestation for mammoths, it was most likely not the first species that will be born. We've already made that commitment, so we're not going to make any more commitments because science is hard. This is very hard. And so we want to ensure that we try to under-promise and over-deliver. We feel like we've already made a very big, hairy, colossal promise with 2028. So that is what we're tracking to.
They seem to have a pipeline that maps to that timeline, but I just have to say, elephants have a 22-month gestation. And if we could make breakthroughs in something that has a shorter generation time or a shorter gestation time, it is possible that we could see one of those sooner. But I don't know. It's about discovery.
Thanks for listening to this Tech and Science Daily special. We are back on Monday afternoon at 1 o'clock. See you then.